Hey everybody, welcome back. Did we play well yesterday, or am I insane? Am I losing my mind, maybe? We've been up and down on Isaac lately, that's for certain. I get up, I get down. That's true ending Tainted Apollyon. I don't mind true ending Tainted Apollyon with a streak of 2. True ending. Bad start. There we go. In my defense, it's before 9 a.m. on a Saturday. I shouldn't be expected, as we discussed yesterday. Very, very young people, such as myself, they're not well suited to waking up this early in the morning and being expected to, say things that require the use of their prefrontal cortex and, make decisions and stuff like that. It's 8:59, so, I got 1 minute until I'm really under the gun there. No thank you. Exploding bombs can drop. Wait a minute. That's good. It's, it's brown cap, right? That is, like, pure garbage. It's the chickens are finally coming home to roost, After years of just ignoring the trinkets that I didn't like. Well, I wouldn't say the chickens are coming home to roost, because that implies, like, a negative thing. I would say we're finally learning what these trinkets do. And it's a dream come true. Look at this. I don't know what I'm asking you to look at, but just look at it. How am I doing? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Had a nice walk with the baby yesterday. That's about it. Been watching a lot of Seinfeld on Netflix. Glad that it's there. Very easy to watch. It's really funny going back to Seinfeld. And look, I recognize it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're having the debate, and it's kind of like a classic television debate, what's a better show, Seinfeld or Friends? It's not even close for me. Like, Seinfeld for me is we're gonna say no to that. Oh, you know what? Suck it up with the Abyss, dummy. I guess we could have waited for that to maybe pay out with something, but Seinfeld for me is a show that is like, I mean, it's gonna sound rude to people who are big fans of Friends, so I apologize for that, but like, the core of that show is funny people. Like, it starts with the writing rather than starting with, like, the actors. They concoct humorous situations. I mean, I guess I'm just describing what a sitcom is. And then, watch them play out. Whereas I almost see Friends as, like, the example of, like, the sitcoms that I like the least, which is, like, I really look forward to, like, once a week for 20 years making a connection to this character. And, like, feeling like when the show is gone, like, I'd lost part of my social network. Now, that's, admittedly, didn't have to go there necessarily. I'm just gonna drop this trinket, even though it's not necessarily bad. That way, on the way back, we can have a cracked key here. We might get some pickups out of it, but I'm content to leave it behind for the time being. That's, by the way, too much of an insult towards Friends, which is actually, like, not the worst sitcom. I watched, I'm of the age where I saw most of Friends, like, as it aired on NBC's, Can't Miss Thursday or whatever the heck, the must-see TV. That's it. I watched a lot of it with my my mom and grandma, for sure, as it aired. I watched the finale. Did my mom shed a few tears when Rachel got off the plane? Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. That's for her to say. You know what? I'm going loco, man. We already have a school bag, because we can hold Abyss plus one other spacebar item. What are the odds that we're going to get enough to justify then having the backpack beyond that? I'll be honest with you, I heavily underrate the backpack, but I think that the pursuit of objectivity in a game like this is futile, and I'm willing to have a 60-minute debate with anybody, televised, if they disagree. How does that sound? Okay, give me this. We're going to go back to the item room. We probably shouldn't have opened the golden chest earlier, but it did give us a fly, which is nice. But it's funny to go back now. I'm not saying Seinfeld is a perfect show, especially watching it, you know, as an adult. There are some times where, like, oh, okay. As a child, I was like, this is the funniest thing ever. Everybody's laughing at, like, this. This must be hilarious. Watching it as an adult, I'm like, there's some parts of it that are a little hokey. I mean, like, the pig man. Come on, man. Really? Like, Kramer's rescuing a person from the hospital just because he kind of looks like a pig? It's a little outlandish. But the core kind of, like, you know, social faux pas that get explored in that show are obviously, you know, it's like it's an influence for stuff like the NLSS, and, you know, the way you when you live a fairly comfortable existence, you spend too much time analyzing the proper way to behave in situations that don't really matter. Do you need to bring a chocolate babka to somebody when you're invited to their baby shower? Turns out, let's go angel deals, maybe. Maybe not that relevant in the real world, but in the 90s it felt very salient. But it's kind of funny to go back and watch it and just examine how, like, society has changed. Like, for example, the episode where George has an insanely large winter coat and everybody laughs at him because it looks silly. Nowadays, like when I saw George walk out in that coat, I was like, holy crap. The drip. This guy, he's got the... He's dripped out to the extreme. It's like the ultimate streetwear. Or, in the same episode, Jerry Seinfeld, while on stage, says, you know, if you want nobody to take you seriously, just wear a hat with ear flaps. And then he uses one as a prop and is like, if I was your lawyer, I would just recommend this as your insanity defense. And you're like, Jerry, you don't know what you're talking about, man. In 2020, that hat is, I wouldn't say it's fire, as the kids say these days, but it's totally fine. You know, I guess what I'm saying is society and, you know, trends and stuff change over time, but... Anyway, that's the problem with this episode, is that I really didn't do much yesterday. I finished my stream. We played that House of Ashes, the Dark Pictures anthology, third game in the series. Not quite done yet, I have to say. As much as I enjoy playing cinematic horror stuff like that. I don't have a problem with horror games in general necessarily, but, you know, this I grew up watching B movies. Dude, I'm just sucking that up. And kind of making fun of them. So stuff like that, even when it's well done, is kind of like very much in my wheelhouse, right? I don't really want remote detonator. I kind of wanted 5 bombs, but I think we'll just buy this instead. And I gotta tell you, for anybody that played Man of Medan and or Little Hope, the earlier games in the franchise, and was like, these are just genuinely not very good. The new one, House of Ashes, is actually like, I wouldn't call it like a return to form on the level of something like Until Dawn, which for whatever reason, I think partly it's just, you know, they're operating with this, in an environment that just works better for something like that, you know, like a teen slasher flick with the classic, like, you know, we were going to a house party in the wilderness and then things went wrong and we just gotta survive, like, one night. I think that, you know, that sort of, encapsulation, almost making it like a bottle episode, worked really well for them, but Supermassive is up and down for sure, even though I play almost everything they make. Let's just focus here for 1 second. But House of Ashes is the best of the Dark Pictures anthology for sure. I would say it's playable. There's some, you know, I mean, here's the thing is, like, there's some writing that is maybe like a little ham-fisted or hokey, or they'll, you know, see, like, obviously something they've never seen in their entire lives because it doesn't exist in the real world, and they'll be like, man, let me tell you, I ain't never seen anything like this before. And you're like, yeah, obviously. Nobody on the planet has, because this is some brand new stuff right here. I think I think that trinket-wise, like, the cathedral is not home, like when you go up. I think that counts as the womb. I know that sounds a little strange, but you also have to acknowledge, I mean, it's sort of like, you know, I'm not trying to do like my bachelor's thesis. Let's be honest, this would not be like a PhD type dissertation, but it's hard to critique it because, you know, what is supermassive? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to mimic horror movies, which also have these tropes of, you know, characters maybe stating the obvious or doing things that are against their best interest and obviously lead to them being in peril? Or are they trying to, like, you know, supersede those tropes, in which case this would constitute a failure for falling back onto old familiar habits? I think they're more like trying to be like, hey, we're presenting like a kind of a group horror movie experience that we can all play and be startled by, but also make fun of as well. So I think that it's faithful in that sense. The Fool. I think they did a good job on this new one. I've enjoyed it so far. It's got to be almost done. Not perfect, but the best they've done. Had a good time playing it. It is October has not existed for me. Basically, since the baby's first birthday at the end of September, the last month has been crazy. Family visiting. I mean, it's not like full of negative stuff, but I mean, there's been like some stress for sure. But you know, baby's birthday, family visiting, put the baby in daycare. You know, totally rework your schedule to make sure that goes okay, and so on and so forth. It really feels like the last month has gone by like crazy. I was excited to play a little bit of a horror B movie. Put myself back in my own wheelhouse a little bit. I try to take like, you know, we talk about this multiple times a year. I try to take time to appreciate the good months of the year, which is not to say you shouldn't be trying to make all months into like the good months, but is more like, you know, October is a pretty good month. Canada, you know, start of the NHL season if you're into that. Canadian Thanksgiving if you're into that. Help me? I can't believe we didn't get hit here. That's staggering to me. I'm cheating on this one. What do we got? 4 soul hearts on the D1. Absolutely. End an item? Hold on. Really? Lucky me. And we haven't seen our item room yet. Let's go back for that. We're going... Oh, because we're on the caves, not the depths. Lucky me. We didn't get the 4 spirit hearts, but... Anyway, you know, it's October. And as much as I don't really like Halloween, I'm coming to terms with the fact that I like Halloween, you know, in my 30s much more than I liked it in my 10s or my 20s. You know, in your 10s and 20s, I mean, what your 10s, Halloween is like your, it's trick-or-treating, right? You go out, you wear a costume, you get some candy. I never really enjoyed it as a kid. I will say, I think part of the reason I never really enjoyed it as a kid is because I always lived in rural areas until I was, like, in my mid-teens. So, the Halloween didn't mean, like, we're gonna walk around the neighborhood so much as, like, I'm gonna get in, you know, the car with my dad, and we're gonna drive, like, 400 meters, and then I'll walk up, like, an insanely long driveway to get to somebody's house, and then they'll drop, like, a can of, you know, Diet Club soda into my Halloween bag. It would take you, like, you know, hours and hours just to hit a handful of houses. I even as a child, I was like, man, I think I'd rather, like, be watching Conan right now. It's just that this just seems like a big old waste of time. Look, you can be as mad as you want to be. I'm going to suck up Blood Puppy. I mean, we got a nice thing going here with... I think Blood Puppy... Oh, see you later. I think Blood Puppy is an item that is not worth holding, but is definitely worth sucking up, which is a polite way of saying I think it's kind of bad. And you see that? We only lost half a Spirit Heart. What a strange play when there was a card on the ground as well. Okay, I'll just be hit. That's fine. We definitely need to up our damage. We are in a position where our fly... Oh, you know what? That's super helpful. We basically doubled it there. Our flies are not as good as they could be because our damage stat is bad, but we also haven't sucked up any damage upgrades, so I'm not sweating that. I feel like we've made mostly the right decisions here. And then Halloween in your 20s, don't get me wrong, you know, I partook for a time, you know, 2021. And that's about it, like, literally. But it's largely, you know, you put on a costume, you get absolutely schmammered, and then, you know, that's that, basically. You just get drunk with, like, a theme, if you're in college at the time, at least. Which, for a couple of years, sure, appealed to me, but it loses its luster, you know, pretty fast once you find yourself removed from the environment. What does Halloween mean in your 30s? I'm still figuring it out, but it's a lot of, like, well, especially now that we have a child ourselves, you know? We get a couple of years, like, I mean, she was a month old last Halloween, didn't really get up to too much. There's a lot of just, like, you know, laying down, which was appropriate at the time, you know? That's one of the things that babies are really, really good at, is just kind of, like, you know, being. Didn't really get up to too much on, like, a hobbyist level, but that's fine. This year, you know, we're at the point she's much more cognizant, obviously. You know, maybe we'll do some fall-type Halloween activities, you know, like be outside at dusk. Maybe visit a pumpkin patch or something like that, but definitely I'm much more interested in the idea, you know, just suck that one up. Much more interested in the idea of, like, you know, taking my kid around for Halloween than, like, being the kid who gets taken around. So, like, different holidays have a different place in your life based on where you're at in your life at that age, right? I mean, like, as a kid, I mean, it depends on your life choices as well. It depends on your level of religiosity. Like, for example, like, Easter, I'm just gonna tell you, like, as somebody, you know, not involved in the ecclesiastical, I'm not gonna say I could take it or leave it, because you know, who doesn't enjoy a long weekend, and nothing but respect for the people who, you know, celebrate it with the sanctity that they feel it deserves. But for me, Easter is kind of like warm Christmas. Christmas, people make time, you know, they take time off work, maybe they travel home from various parts of the country or wherever they happen to be living. You know, you get basically 2 holidays in one, because New Year's is combined. Something nice and cozy, too, about, like, you know, at least in North America, I guess, you know, it tends to be very, almost as cold as it'll ever get over the course of the entire year. You get to snuggle up under a blanket, maybe have some hot chocolate. Bailey's optional. I really thought I could time that better, but alas. Probably should have sucked it up, but I don't know. Yeah, definitely should have sucked it up, unless we get an angel deal on our next floor, in which case I'll feel totally fine about this. And we'll head down here. And remember, this is the floor we got to teleport away. Could really use some damage on this floor then, just to make it work. You know, it has a certain, you know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The holiday or the feeling surrounding it? Probably the holiday came first, but it has a sacred place, even in the agnostic calendar, as kind of like a year-end consolidation holiday. Easter's just like, you know, bop bop and I'll do it again, for me at least. As a kid, though, you know, when you're, like, under the age of 12, Easter's kind of sick, right? It's like Christmas 2.0 and Halloween 2.0 wrapped up in one. You know, you're eating all sorts of candy and chocolate and stuff like that. I got a WCW game for some reason for Easter one year. I mean, we want that, but we can't really take it. I just remember it was Easter, and my parents were like, hey, look in your bookshelf. And then I looked at my bookshelf, and it was like WCW. It wasn't No Mercy. I forget what one it was, but for the PS1. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, the Easter Bunny got that. He must be a big gamer or something. I think we'll probably suck up Guppy's head. One permanent fly seems pretty good. Plus, we couldn't have gotten out of there without it, so, you know, there is that. HP is in a real bad spot here. We got some serious issues with the HP front, but you know what? Boss Rush maybe sorts us out. Little Angel Deal could sort us out. Similar, I mean, there's all sorts of holidays, right? Like, I feel like as you get older, well, you know what? Let me hit you with another one, okay? And I think that this will be relatable at least for Canada, America, and France. I don't know when other countries' Independence Days are. I'm going to suck both of these up this time. But if your Independence Day is in the summer and your school system follows a traditional summer vacation, I think you get a newfound appreciation for that summer day off when you actually enter the workforce. Because as a kid, you know, it's Canada Day, it's July 1st, whatever. Like, I just got on summer vacation. Give me one of these, man. Alexander Hamilton. I just got on summer vacation, like, you know, a week or 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, there's another day off where, like, my parents are home from work. I can't watch Major Payne on the big screen at you know, 1 a.m. with the volume cranked because they're home. That doesn't really make sense, but, you know, not every metaphor is gonna... Not every made-up hypothetical situation is gonna be completely coherent, okay? As an adult, you're like, holy crap, a day off in the summertime? Now we're talking. I don't know if I've said anything cogent in this whole episode so far, but TGIS, thank God it's Saturday. Plenty of time to farm up some anecdotes today. I'm just gonna level with you. You can be like as mad as you want to over the fact that we only have 8 items. I would be interested in knowing what item you would look at that we sucked up and be like, oh, you shouldn't have sucked that one up. It would have had a transformative effect on your run. Like, we have not, to the best of my awareness at least, we have not created our own demise here. If anything, I think we've aggressively pursued a quantity of flies that gives us, you know, an advantageous position to operate from in the future. We just have one major problem, which is that we have no HP. That helps, admittedly, a little. And no, very limited damage if you ignore, or if you consider, I should say, the fact that part of it is just from the negative. This is not what you want to see, man. The world spawns a trapdoor to a crawl space. Okay, let's start with that. That's the wafer. I think that's insane. I think it's cracked. I think it's amazing. Now, the quarter, I think we should suck up. And I'll tell you my methodology here, because you might be like, that was a rare opportunity to get a reroll into something that could potentially be amazing. While that could be true, you also... I'm thinking that maybe we can use the dice shard at home in order to reroll that... Moving on. We'll be heading downwards, and we will not be doing the... Look, okay, this is good for our... I literally just forgot. And you know what's funny? My muscle memory had kicked in, and I was walking towards the spawn room. You can pinpoint the exact moment on slow-mo instant replay. And then my, like, executive function in my brain kicked in and was like, why are you walking towards the spawn room? You should be going to the boss room. That's how the game moves on. So, you know, I apologize. It happens. It is very funny, though, to think that, wow. And honestly, like, our chances of winning go way, way up now. But I was hoping we'd finally get the chance to re-roll that chest at home into Mom's knife, because it's never happened before, to us at least. No, thank you. Well, sorry, but also, that's kind of funny. We're past the... I hope, at least, you're past... You've been watching the series for, like, 10 years. You see something like that happen. I mean, if you're saying anything but, like, you know, that's my streamer, then, you know, I mean, it's your right. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has a breaking point. I'm surprised most of you haven't hit it before this. Like, how many times is he gonna do the holiday bit? Hey, at least this time I didn't talk about St. Patrick's Day. You know? A holiday that I think matters, that's like one of the rare holidays that seems to mostly appeal to people in their 20s and 50s. I'll just leave this room, please. Anytime I've been involved in a St. Patrick's Day experience, it's just like, you know, a bunch of young adults who are like, this holiday gives us a slightly socially more acceptable chance to be intoxicated in public. I can throw up on the bus and you can't be mad at me because it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm actually celebrating and honoring another culture via my actions today. We made the Guinness green. Regardless. Let me in? No? Okay. It seems like it's just that, and then like a bunch of 50 to 70-year-old men wearing sweaters with collared shirts underneath them. Like that's what the pub looks like at 11:30 a.m. on St. Patrick's Day. It's a cosmopolitan mix. Now, will we win this run? I really think we will. As negative as our HP looks / is, we have the wafer, so we really have 8 HP, and our damage is actually fine. Like 7 damage is not that incredible. It's kind of amazing for us because it was but you no. It's kind of amazing for us because it was completely controlled by the curved horn and the negative. Like, without these, we would be in a much tighter spot, but with these, like, it's pretty good. And I don't know, we've probably got, like, 10 flies or something like that. Very helpful as well. Certainly don't feel like we're in a high-risk situation. So, anyway, what do we got going on this weekend? Not that much. Little, you know, my mom's still in town. We've been planning to get sushi for like 3 weeks. I think we're finally gonna knock that out today. I know it's so hard in Vancouver to find a time to get sushi. No, it's more because like we're still, you know, like my mom is she's older. She's on. Well, I mean, she's not. She's actually very young by like parents of a 32-year-old man standards. But she wakes up, you know, early in the morning, and she's used to eating early in the morning because she's retired. So, you know, and I can relate to this. When I have, like, a day off, I eat lunch at, like, you know, 9:45 a.m. because I'm like, I got nothing else to do today. So we try to find we can make it work. Like, my mom can have dinner, and Kate and I can just classify it as, like, an early lunch, and then we're good to go. Okay, Berserk is kind of fun. It is a spacebar item, though, so I think I'm actually in, like... Well, you know what? I think... Give me Berserk. And then Dice Shard me. Wow, that's a good item. Able. And then I would say, out of these... I mean, of course, like, Satanic Bible's good. Just hit me with that Abyss early, though. Now, don't forget to use some Berserk. Like, it's strong, man. Berserk is a great, like, class of item. How much HP does that guy have? Are you kidding me? To weather the storm of like 70 berserk blasts right to the freaking face. That's about it. That's what's on the horizon for this weekend. I got nothing else in the pipe 5x5, which is fine actually. It's like I said, man. I'm in that situation, you know. I think because as a child, I like grew up having, you know, again living in the country. My weekends were pretty much like freeform. My parents would, you know, go grocery shopping in the city at like 10 a.m., which was a 2-hour ordeal. I may die, okay? After all of my bluster, I may die. Never mind, we're totally fine. And I would just kind of like chill all day. I'm used to, well, I think I came of age in a system where it was like, if you have one thing going on that day, you classify yourself as like kind of busy. So now I'm looking to recapture some of that energy this weekend. Maybe just hang out a little bit, read some stories, take a nap, flip the flap. What's that? It's Fluffy Panda and someone else too. Pat his fur, then peep on through. This is not good. Never mind, it's fine. We'll never make it. We made it. Hey. Dude, all of a sudden, like, I regret what I said about bloggers, or vloggers in the last episode. I'm like, you know what? It's a real talent to turn your relatively pedestrian life into non-stop content. Who would have thought? You gotta... No wonder they're doing, you know, 17 gender reveals every time they have a kid. You gotta farm some content out of it. This room is my personal nightmare. I didn't even leave red hearts on the ground. Yeah, I'm increasingly convinced that I may actually perish here. Like the last name of Robin Williams' character from the movie Jumanji. Well, okay, now I'm not, because that's helpful. And then, is there a secret room? Probably not, but that's okay. Don't forget to use Berserk, but I think the dream play with Berserk is that you pop it when you think you'll get lethal with it, or when you think you'll get lethaled with it, because with Berserk, I think you actually can't take lethal damage. Which means if you finish the fight and get inside of the chest quickly enough, I think even if you take lethal damage, you live. Okay, well, it's been done. A bit of a strange episode, but that's okay. It's early. It's only 9:32 a.m. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.